Yeah, in this video, I was exposed to an interesting idea um, from Zizek, the Russian Marxist philosopher. Uh, and his idea is that love is evil in a formal sense, because love is not loving everyone equally, having a larger view or a larger attitude of valuing toward humanity and the collective in general, but that love rather is a process by which we select. It's a selective process by which we select one person, if you're monogamous, or a couple of people. You pick them out and you value them um, at a level um, that at a very high level. So it's love is, and Zizek's notion of love as being evil is that love is not loving the world and having a larger appreciation for humanity. It's loving particular individuals and particular humans and arbitrarily selecting some out and then disregarding others. So it's a process by which we selectively regard and disregard. In this sense, he regards love as evil. And this goes back to an idea that I had about self-interest and about how individualism taken to too far an extreme is what I would call the myopia of self-interest, the tendency by which humans become fixated on what they selfishly desire individually and lose a larger appreciation for how they're operating within a network that their actions affect, right? It's the self-interest can become very myopic because people then become too fixated on what they personally want in the moment now and begin to selectively disregard the interests of the collective and the species and refuse myopically to adopt a larger attitude of regard toward the collective and toward humanity. And so, in this sense, Zizek's idea of love is that it is not a good, it is an evil. There's one almost fatal problem with that idea of love, which is that love is evil. Well, he's not being very precise when he says that, saying love is evil, right? As he's defined love, that may be true. Unfortunately, though, right, he's saying love is picking out a certain person and disregarding others, hence it's evil. And what if a person loves all of humanity, does not selectively regard one and ignore others, but has love for the whole, the species, humanity itself? Is that still evil? Is that an evil form of love? Really, he's saying that love, defined as a process of selectively regarding some and disregarding others, is evil. He needs to be more precise. To say that love is evil ends up becoming more of a headline rather than a precise statement about his ethical and philosophical feelings. So it's the myopia of self-interest. We can become individualism taken to an extreme can cause us to become bent on achieving our own ends while adopting an attitude of disregard toward the consequences of our actions in terms of how it might affect others or the future or the self in unforeseen ways. And so an individual that is too attached to maybe what they want individually can become a burden and can pursue at the expense of those that individual is sharing all of life with and sharing the world with. And the world doesn't belong to an individual. It doesn't really belong to anyone inherently. But it's the myopia of self-interest in that sense. Collectivism taken to the extreme can lead all sorts of very unfortunate consequences, but individualism and the promotion of self-interest at the expense of social consequences with disregard to consequences in a larger view of the world ends up becoming very myopic and leads individuals to a very narrow understanding of life in the world, which is only perceived through the lens of their own self-interest. And so in this sense, it is damaging to the mind and to having a good social consciousness. So in any case, I think Zizek's idea on love being evil is more of a headline than a precise statement about anything. But as he's defined love, selectively regarding some and disregarding others, he says that is evil, right? In a formal sense. Depends on how you define the terms. Love, so if he defines love being evil because it's selectively regarding some and disregarding others, could one not regard all and disregard no one? In that sense, if we define love that way, is it still evil? Again, it comes to how you semantically define the term. But I get his point. I think it's a very interesting perspective. Yeah, so as Zizek defines it, love is an attitude of regard for some and disregard for others is evil. And certainly what he's speaking to is how individuals that become too self-interested, too attached to their individual families and their individual interests and their individual significant others, and can develop a myopia and simply act to preserve their family's interests and their social network's interests at the expense of others. So that's the myopia of self-interest that I'm talking about, which is why Zizek defines love as evil. In any case, thank you for watching.